Beneath her facade of being the perfect, virtuous housewife, she orchestrated coffee dates with girlfriends, while secretly rendezvousing with her young lover in public restrooms, completely oblivious that her husband had long detected her infidelity. Rather than confronting her betrayal, he enlisted a private investigator to document her clandestine affairs. In short order, every unfaithful encounter was meticulously photographed. While Mary remained lost in forbidden passion, she couldn't have foreseen how a momentary indulgence would plunge their marriage into an abyss from which there was no return. Mary was the epitome of graceful middle-aged beauty, blessed with an adorable, spirited son, and married to a notably successful husband. They projected the image of enviable domestic bliss until a violent typhoon mercilessly shattered their tranquil existence. That fateful day, after completing her shopping downtown, the raging storm made hailing a taxi virtually impossible. Left with no alternatives, she struggled against the elements, inching her way toward the distant bus stop. The wind's intensity proved overwhelming, and suddenly thrust Mary directly into a stranger's embrace. This seemingly romantic collision engineered by fate would ultimately become one man's undoing. After helping retrieve her scattered belongings, Mary attempted once more to secure transportation home, but the fall had left her with a painful scrape across her knee, forced to rest on nearby steps. She reluctantly asked Alan to flag down a taxi, yet in such treacherous conditions, no driver would stop Alan's frustrated attempts to appear gallant, resulted in such comical gestures that Mary couldn't suppress her laughter. At that moment, Alan's attention shifted to her injured knee. He casually mentioned living in this very building, offering his apartment to treat her wound. Without missing a beat, Mary firmly declined his proposition. Alan immediately recognized her apprehension, yet something in his soulful, witty gaze had already begun to ensnare her. She watched a taxi pass without hailing it, and followed Alan into the apartment building. The building's malfunctioning elevator chimed like a warning, stirring uneasy premonitions within Mary. She wrestled internally between reason and desire, while Alan's persistent encouragement worked like a magnetic spell, tugging irresistibly at her better judgment, drawing her inexorably toward his doorway. Crossing his threshold, Mary gasped at the unexpected sight. An apartment transformed into a personal library, books everywhere. Without preamble, Alan directed her toward the bathroom. Mary froze momentarily, her mind racing with inappropriate assumptions. Noting her discomfort, Alan quickly clarified the first aid kit was stored there, teasingly suggesting she might snoop through his medicine cabinet. Mary managed an awkward smile. This sophisticated 38-year-old woman could never have anticipated that Alan, barely into his 30s, was such a practiced seducer. Upon entering the bathroom, Mary immediately secured the lock, yet after tending to her wound when preparing to depart, the intoxicating aroma of freshly brewed coffee gave her pause. Still, thoughts of her son returning from school preoccupied her. She requested to use Alan's phone to check on her child's whereabouts with the nanny, completely unaware that her elegantly shaped legs and refined sensual presence had already ignited inappropriate fantasies in the young man's mind. Absorbed in her telephone conversation, Alan unexpectedly pressed an ice cube against her injury.